Hey guys, to celebrate my new mic, here it is. You know what? This small, unique device has helped me a lot when making videos, especially a place where there are a lot of noisy background noise. This device helped eliminate any noisy noise, however noisy they are. That's why I love this so much. To celebrate this, I made this video. This video is all about speaking, again, in the same room, my bedroom, especially about IELTS speaking. I know that I'm not an IELTS expert, but all of those tips I will share to you today is all from my own experience, and some tips I found out on YouTube, on the internet, from the ex-IELTS examiner. So that's what I want to share with you. Hope this video is helpful for you. So all of those are mistakes, those silly mistakes that we often made in some IELTS room, and how to avoid those mistakes. Some of those mistakes are definitely not grammatical errors or vocabulary errors, but just silly mistakes that you will make, and it will affect your overall score. So first off, have you ever been shy and it feels so hard for you to make eye contact with the examiner? Well, this may be true. And you cannot look at the face of the examiner because his face is so serious, or you're too shy and you cannot contact with him. This is absolutely normal. But sometimes being too shy can affect your overall performance. You'll not perform very well. This happens to a lot of people, is that sometimes when they're at home, they practice speaking and they speak very fluently. But on the real test day, they just feel so nervous that they cannot produce a single sound from their mouth. That is particularly totally normal. And how to avoid this is that just have a mindset that this is a normal, fun conversation. There's nothing serious about it, even though it is actually serious. But when you are so scared and you cannot be the best of yourselves, I think it's better if you actually relax a little bit and imagine that this is a fun conversation. This person asks you a question, you answer them, and you can even make some contact questions, eye contact, smile. So remember, there's nothing to be worried about, and just relax. I actually have a very small breathing exercise I usually do whenever I feel nervous, especially before test day or before 10 minutes before the test. So basically, the breathing exercise is that breathe in for 3 seconds and hold that for 7 seconds. And then you breathe out like that for 10 seconds. This is actually a breathing exercise from my previous teacher. She actually shared this with us a long, long time ago, but I still remembered, and trust me, it works like magic. So remember to do this breathing exercise, and hopefully it'll make you feel better. All right. Number two, silly mistakes, is that you memorized phrases. What this means is that sometimes examiner can stop you in the middle of a sentence if they catch that you are memorizing some phrases on the internet, or you already memorized this 1,000 times, because there's a differences between memorize something and say it out loud and say something naturally. So let me ask you, am I like memorizing something to say this, or I might just like natural? I might just like do some pointers and say this naturally. Of course, I'm saying this naturally because when I actually memorize something, it's very hard for me to actually make contacts with you guys and ask some questions. So, for example, if the examiner asks you a question, where do you work or study? Simply, this is just like a part one question, right? So I would answer that I'm currently a high schoolers. No, actually a middle schoolers. I'm actually a middle schoolers, and school is great. I went to a middle school near my house, and practically I've been going there for 3 years already. That is a normal answer. But instead, you will catch the examiner is like very smart, especially they're so smart that they can catch if that person memorized phrases. So when they catch something like that, the examiner can easily stop and interrupt you. One thing is that don't be scared and don't be frightened when they interrupted you. That's a normal thing because the test is only for 15 minutes. And if you say things too long, the examiners will have to stop you because you cannot go over time. So that's why don't memorize phrases. Instead, speak things naturally and learn how to organize stuff in your head instead of memorize phrases because the examiner will easily catch you. For speaking part one, it's just some simple questions like accommodations, work or study, or hobbies and sports, and a lot of other topics. So contestants can easily memorize this stuff. So my tip for you is instead of memorizing things, try to think in your head, organize things in your head, and answer simply and naturally as possible because part one is still simple. Part two and part three are the key. All right. And the silly mistakes, I don't think it's too silly, but it's a mistake that most of us made is that we answer too short. Even though I did say that part one is just a get to know each other. Part two and part three is more advanced, and that's like the moment that we can showcase our English, our English. But part one, even though it's a short like question, like easy question, easy answer, but sometimes it's odd for you to provide some explanations also. So for example, they ask you, what color do you like? In simple conversation, you can easily say blue. I like blue. And that's it. But in IELTS test, it is also beneficial for you to provide some reasons why do I like blue, or tip for you if you have nothing to say in part one. You can give explanations. I like blue because it's the color of dreams, and I felt like blue is my lucky color. I can achieve so much more with blue beside me. It's basically an answer. I told you the reasons, and I also told you a little short scenario. So in case that your answer is too short, you don't know how to expand your answer, it's just for part one, okay? And you don't know how to expand your answer, you can definitely give a short explanations, reasons why, for example, you like the color blue, and you can also give a short story. I like blue because like once I was in a car and blue just makes me happy when I was in a blue area, a blue space. So that contains an explanations and scenarios as well. All right. Number four, a pretty silly mistake I must say is that contestants and us sometimes we usually go off topic. What does it mean to go off topic? Go off topics means that, for example, the examiner they're asking you a question about this, and then you just like go off to another area. So, for example, I've watched this little silly thing. It's not that silly, but I think going off topic is a thing that you must avoid entirely. It's a thing that Okay, so going off topic basically means that you just go off to another direction and you don't stick to the topic. So my tip for you is that be direct. Don't say, okay, well, I think that, for example, they ask you, what's like, describe a present you would like to receive. And you say that I've been wanting the Harry Potter books for a while. I think Harry Potter is so great. I love reading it. Ever since I was little, I've been craving for the Harry Potter series. And then you move on to talk about Harry Potter's and the movies. In fact, the question is describe a present you like to receive and why you want to receive that. I mean, like it's okay to talk about Harry Potter, but it's also you're going off topic talking about Harry Potter's and the movies so great. Too long, right? Instead, just talking about you're gonna be direct. Okay, so when you be direct, you say, I like Harry Potter. I've been wanting that ever since I was little. That's enough. You don't need to tell the examiner what the Harry Potter series is about, right? So going off topic is very dangerous because while you're talking, you can easily, time management is very important. You only have 2 minutes for part two. And if you continue to talk about the Harry Potter series, who like which characters do you like the movies more or the books more, whatever. then 2 minutes gonna run out and you will not be directly. You can definitely lose point in that. And the examiner will quickly interrupt you and move on to the next part. So make sure never to go off topic and stick to the question. If they ask you why do you like that, explain why you like that. You don't need to tell the examiner the whole story. Because remember, the speaking test is only for 15 minutes. Okay. And the next one that's also related to going off topic is repeating the story. You repeat again. That means that you don't have much ideas and you keep repeating yourself over and over again. For example, if so that means that my suggestion for you is to practice having ideas and brainstorming more. So think about a topic. If they ask you, do you think that kids should have a pet? And you have no idea if they should or not. Like, your only idea is that having a pet will make kids more friendly, and you don't have any other options. So, my suggestion for you would be brainstorming more and think of ideas more before you put your answer to the test. Because when you don't have a lot to say, you keep repeating yourself. I think kids like when they have pets that are friendly and they keep on doing a lot of nice things and a lot of stuff. And yeah, they're friendly, of course. Like, for example, I'm so friendly. Like, okay, you keep repeating again and again the point friendly when having dogs or cats. You keep repeating yourself. So practice brainstorming and read a lot of news so that you can know a lot more. Okay. Repeating yourself, there's also another point in repeating yourself, is that you keep repeating the same phrases. Have you ever heard the phrase, that's an interesting question? Frankly speaking, yeah, the phrase, the term, that's an interesting question. It's okay to say this like once or twice, but it's not okay to use it over and over again because it will make the examiner think like you're not, like you just keep repeating that and like maybe in your mind you don't think it's an interesting question because you have nothing to say. That's why you have to say it. It's okay to make some compliment and context with the examiner, but don't overuse it like a lot in every single question. It's okay to use it like once or twice, but too many times can damage your score as well. So my suggestion is that don't even use that's an interesting question and frankly speaking. Yeah. Okay. So finally, my suggestion is that be natural. When you're natural, it's like so much better than just memorizing stuff and be too formal. Even though IELTS is a formal test, I mean, like, that doesn't mean that you have to be formal, right? Because there's a differences between writing and speaking. Writing, you have to be formal and use formal languages. But speaking, like I'm speaking right now, sometimes I do use informal languages, right? But when you're being too formal, that's also weird. For example, firstly, kids should go to school because it's good for them. In conclusion, like you use terms like firstly, okay, firstly is okay, but like in conclusion, it's like in writing. So you have to differentiate the differences between writing and speaking as well. And finally, the last mistakes is that people sometimes speak too quickly, like me. I used to speak like so quickly that I forgot all about my pronunciation, my grammar, and my intonation. So sometimes pronunciation can be great, and of course, having like right grammar can also be great. But don't forget about pronunciation and intonation as well. They are equally important, like grammar and vocabulary. So those are all the tips that I think that like some mistakes that we might have in out speaking. And I also shared you some tips on how to avoid those. So I hope this has been great. I hope this might work. I think it does because there's a lot of background noise lately, and especially someone just speaks so loud. So I hope this mic can help reduce the noise a lot. So thank you for watching. I'll see you around. Bye.